Peace. Been going for a while, but it's because I've been strengthening my knowledge and my routine, adjusting to a new environment, all of these things, right? So, I got some shit for y'all. So, I am back in school, in college, and I've learned some stuff about psychology, right? I learned about a lot, but let's talk about psychology right now, right? So, long story short, there are different psychologists that are known for contributing to the behaviorist psychology realm. So, you have Pavlov, John B. Watson, and B.F. Skinner. Those are like the main Western or American. Well, I don't think Pavlov was American, but still, it's just Western psychologists that contributed to psychology. So Pavlov, he did a behaviorist. You can look up these experiments too. Pavlov, Pavlov, and he did tests with dogs, and basically when you think about food, your mouth starts to water. So he was really focused on digestive system, and he wasn't a psychologist at all. I believe he was like a physiologist. But he would put like this valve type thing on the mouth so that the dog could like drip saliva into this tube, and he would like have it around their mouth type shit. So yeah, basically whenever the food came out or whenever the dog was presented with the food, he would start to mouth water, and then like he was using that for some kind of digestive system experiment or whatever. But then he realized that the dog's mouth would start watering because he would bring it out of the same location each time. It would be the same location each time. So before the food even came out, the dog's mouth would already be watering because he would know like, okay, I'm finna get food over here. I'm finna get served food. So then he started pairing it with different stimuli. And there are different terms, but I don't want to confuse y'all. I really want y'all to be, I'm going to tell you the terms, but I don't want to confuse y'all. I'm going to try to be as like simple and clear as possible. So for every stimulus, there's a response. It's just like cause and effect. So if you are stimulated by something externally, you will respond to it. It will cause you to affect this way. I said that shit wrong, but you get it. So long story short, he would pair bells with it, different sounds with it. So, for example, like every time the food was about to come, he would ring this bell. And the bell would let the dog know, okay, I'm finna get food. So the dog would start dripping saliva through the valve thing before, he would, like, while he heard the bell, he was conditioned to respond by, like biological. This is like physiological shit. He would secrete the saliva through the valve. So let me just give you some terms real quick before I continue. Like I said, for every stimulus, there's a response, just like cause and effect. But then you also have conditioned, unconditioned, and neutral. So these words will, like conditioned and unconditioned, will be paired with stimulus and response. So you either have an unconditioned response or a conditioned response, or you either have a unconditioned stimulus and a conditioned stimulus. It's like they are, all the terms are like combined together. And like I said, you do have neutral too. So unconditioned just means natural. This is something natural that's happened and you naturally respond to it. Like for example, let's say, like for example with the dog thing, when you're about to eat, your mouth starts to produce saliva. It starts to produce saliva, and this is like the first step of digestion. The saliva, you tasting it, you chewing it, all of these things are like the first steps to digestion. So naturally, you about to eat some food, your mouth starts watering. This is a natural thing. This is a natural unconditioned stimulus. The food. Okay. Let me just draw this out. Let me draw this out for you. So, you have the food, and then you have saliva being produced, right? Food, saliva. So the food in this case would be the unconditioned stimulus. And then the saliva in this case would be the unconditioned response. Because for, like I said, for every stimulus you have a response. So the food, unconditioned stimulus, the saliva would be unconditioned response. Now, let's say you pair this with a bell ringing. You pair the, hold on, let me get a little more. Let's say you pair the food with the bell ringing. You do this a few times, and next thing you know, the saliva will start to be produced without any food even being present. The food doesn't even have to be present. So this bell would be a neutral response because you can ring the bell and there would be no saliva produced. You know what I'm saying? Like naturally, there would be no saliva produced if you ring this bell. But if you pair the bell with, okay, I'm about to get food, now the saliva will be produced. So this bell would transfer from a neutral, I hope y'all can see this, just hold it like it's backwards as fuck, but the bell would go from a neutral stimulus because it's neutral. So that means that you have no saliva response to a bell ringing, right? It's just a bell. But when you pair it with the food, like every time you get food, you hear this bell ringing. So now the bell, you don't even have to get the food to start producing this saliva. So let me go ahead and, you don't even have to get the food to start producing saliva. You can just have the bell ring alone, not have any food, and then bam, saliva will start being produced, right? So let's tie this to some real world things, right? Let's talk about fear. So let's say you have this was actually an example that was in my textbook. So basically the lady, the little girl, right? She would ride in the car, and then her and her father would ride on this bridge. So the bridge, the dad would just try to joke and be like, these are all the kinds of things that can happen on a bridge. The bridge can just fall and collapse. And he would just say all kind of scary ass stories every time they rode on a bridge. So she would be terrified of riding on a bridge. So in this case, the unconditioned stimulus would be scary stories equals fear, which is the response. The unconditioned response is scary stories equal fear. All right. So you tell me a scary story, I'm scared. But you pair this scary story with the bridge. Now the bridge causes fear. Does that make sense? The bridge now causes fear because you have paired it with something that makes you scared. So now the woman is afraid of all bridges. She won't even drive on the highway because of all the bridges that are on the highway and shit like that. She don't want to see a bridge. She don't want to get on that bitch. She is terrified of bridge. She has a bridge phobia. She don't want to see nothing. She don't like bridges because of that. Something that happened in her childhood can cause her to be reacting in this way. So that's an example, right? But we have two more people that I want to talk about just to paint a bigger picture. So John B. Watson, he had an experiment called Baby Albert. The baby wasn't called Albert, but we're just gonna call his ass Albert. But anyway, Baby Albert was the experiment. And like I said, John B. Watson, you can look these experiments up and you can see them yourself. Because there's like videos of them and shit like that, pictures and articles on it, lots of articles. So John B. Watson, he would give a baby a rat. Like he'll put the rat on the baby and just keep putting the rat near the baby. The baby didn't give no fucks about the rat. You know, he was just like, oh wow, it's a rat. I'm kind of curious, but I'm not afraid of it. It's a rat. I'm looking at him, I'm touching him. It's cool, right? So there's no fear at all from the rat. So now he started pairing, because when you pair the unconditioned stimulus with the neutral, that's when the neutral becomes a conditioned stimulus. It becomes something that's learned. And then that learned thing comes into a learned response. Like, for example, one more example, like the girl on the bridge, right? So the girl is on the bridge and she was cool. You know what I'm saying? She had no issue with the bridge. The bridge was neutral. It's just a bridge, right? But when the bridge was paired, when it was paired with the unconditioned stimulus, you hear something scary, you automatically get scared, right? So it's paired with this scary story, and now the bridge is conditioned. It's a conditioned stimulus because you have learned to be afraid of this bridge. So now the bridge is a conditioned learned stimulus that now you have a conditioned learned response. You know what I mean? You now respond to the bridge with fear because it's been associated with a scary story. So basically, the baby would pair the John B. Watson. He would pair the rat. Every time the baby would reach for the rat, he would strike like a steel bar with a hammer, make a loud, scary ass sound. So like, the rat is a neutral stimulus. It's just a rat. You know what I mean? I don't have no hard feelings, no beef with the rat. It's a rat, right? So long story short, this loud noise made me jump. It makes me scared. I don't like this noise. So this loud noise would be an unconditioned stimulus, and then me being afraid of it would be the unconditioned response, because the scary noise equals me scared as hell. So that's how that goes. But when you pair the scary noise with the rat, and you keep doing it, after about 6 or 7 pairings of this, the rat was then associated with fear now. It's the same thing with this, right? This is the loud noise. This is the fear. You pair the loud noise with the rat, and you keep pairing it. So once, after about like 6 or 7 pairings, the rat was then associated with fear. So he didn't even have to do the loud noises anymore. Like, all he had to do was just show him the rat with no loud noises paired with it. Show him the rat, because he's already learned and been conditioned to be afraid of this rat. So you don't even have to pair the loud sounds with it. Now you just, every time you see a rat, this is a rat. Every time you see a rat, you like, oh shit, because you feel like the fear is already programmed into you. So anything that looked like a rat, it was a Santa Claus mask, it was a rabbit, it was anything that was white and furry, they would just give it to him, and he was afraid of it because he was associating that rat with the loud noise, the fear that was caused by the loud noise. It's not even about the loud noise anymore at this point. It's just, I have an internal fear that's built in, so now I'm afraid of all rats, all fuzzy white things. That's also this is called classical conditioning. This whole thing is called classical conditioning. But there's another one called operant conditioning, which is with B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner is another guy who was doing experiments on mostly like pigeons and I believe rats. And he would make a Skinner box. It would be like this a box that was like, he was pretty crafty with his hands and shit like that. So he would have a box, and in order for the pigeon or rat to get food, they would have to press like a certain button. Like, it would be 3 buttons. You press this button, food comes out. So basically, over time, the pigeon would be hungry as fuck. It would be hungry. So it's like, okay, I know that this button will give me food. So I'm gonna peck this button, and then I get my food. That is a learned response. It's a conditioned response. Knowing that I'm gonna get food after pecking this button, I'm automatically rewarded with this. So how does this tie into human life and reality? I already gave you the bridge example, but I want to give you some more real world examples, and I want to challenge you to figure out reflect on your life and figure out where you have certain triggers and certain fears and phobias and anxieties and all of these things, and figure out what was the pairing of the neutral and unconditioned stimulus. Where was that pairing for you? So I'm gonna give you one about just the black society. Damn, I thought I wrote it down. Oh, I did write it down. So let's say you have the neutral stimulus. You see black characters shown as criminals, thugs, or uneducated, right? You see this on TV. Whenever you look on TV, this is all you see: a stereotypical black person with an attitude, struggling and all this shit, and robbing, killing, and doing all this gangster shit, whatever the case is. This is how you see black people portrayed. Just now, I can say that I've been seeing some black people be portrayed as like successful, but this is new. A lot of movies and stuff show black people, especially Tyler Perry movies, show black people struggling and just, yeah. So that's the neutral stimulus. Black characters shown as criminals, thugs, or uneducated, right? And then the conditioned stimulus. So let me go ahead and let you know right here. This is the neutral. This is the unconditioned stimulus. So the unconditioned stimulus would be societal fear or prejudiceness against these groups. And then you have the conditioned response, which would be reinforced bias or internalized self-doubt. So people looking at you as this criminal and stuff like that because it was paired with, so you have black people and then you have the thugs and criminals, right? Black people will be up here, sorry. Black people will be the neutral person. It's neutral. It's just a black person. It's a person that's black or brown, right? You know what I mean? So then you pair it with thugs, criminals, and crazy shit, right? You pair it with something that's negative. So now when you associate black people, and honestly, when you have the negative thing, so let me try to get a little more clear. You have black people, then you have black people being portrayed as these thugs, criminals, and uneducated. So when you see somebody that's thugs and criminals and uneducated, you have fear. Based on this person, you have fear. It's like, okay, you scary as hell because why you walking around with a gun? Why you know what I mean? Why you walking around like this, right? And so this is for other people. For other people, seeing somebody walk around with a gun, seeing a thug, seeing somebody who looks scary, you associate that with fear. You're afraid of this person and you stereotype this person. And then when you combine it with black people in this stereotypical energy that you feel, the black people, the thugs, the criminals, and the uneducation, when you pair it with those, now you associate all black people with this. So now you're afraid of all black people. Now you judge all black people. Now you stereotype all black people. Now that's from the external world. That's people that's not black. That's like what white people may see or what an Asian person may see or anything like that. Not saying that all Asians and white people look at us like that, but I'm just giving examples here. So let's talk about how the black person may feel about this, right? They are portrayed as thugs, criminals, and uneducated people. And now, when you pair the black with the thugs and criminals, when you pair that together, now the response is self-doubt, feeling like that's all you can be and feeling like shit because all of your people are, now you feel like all your people are this, you know what I'm saying? And now you feel like you have a certain, you feel that this is expected of you. It's expected of you to be a thug, to be uneducated, to be poor, you know what I'm saying? All of this is expected of you. So, yeah, I hope that that's clear. But there's so many different examples, like even seeing, we can do positive ones, like seeing black people portrayed as, because you have the black people and you have black people portrayed as business owners and leaders and very educated people and doctors and lawyers and entrepreneurs and all these things and fancy cars with a lot of money. You and that's not rappers and athletes, because that's all we see and that's all we think we can do because we've been programmed this way. You know what I'm saying? We've been conditioned and learned this types of behavior. So if we say, like, if we see black people successful without being a musician or a athlete, if you see the success as a doctor, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, like a Malcolm X type person or Martin Luther King, we don't have no people like that in our day. I mean, we do have some people, but it's not to that extent, you know what I mean? So yeah, pairing black people with educated, successful black people, education and success, and you prepare, okay. Fuck, I'm twisting on my words. Listen, you pair the black people with education and success, right? You pair that. So now the black person will feel inspired and uplifted because seeing somebody that's like them educated and successful and, you know, rich or whatever the case is, now you feel like you can do it. You feel like there's more out there. But if you only see black people paired with football players and rappers, then you're going to feel like, okay, the only way I can make it is if I'm a rapper or a football player, or else I'm just going to be poor and unsuccessful, because this is all you see. This is all you associate your mind with. Does that make sense? So, some good stuff. But now, I want to challenge you to reflect on your life. Ask yourself, is this a learned behavior or is this you? And most of the time, you see how the baby was just simply programmed to be afraid of a rat just from a loud noise being struck. So just think about, like, in your childhood, like, where there, and this may be trigger warning for some people, but just say in your childhood, like, you heard a lot of arguing from your parents, or a lot of violence, or a lot of gunshots, or a lot of, you know, early sexual encounters, and whatever the case. And now you associate certain neighborhoods, certain songs, certain people, certain environments, certain sounds with fear, or uncomfortability, or anxiety, and all of these things, like panic attacks, and all of this stuff comes from this conditions, conditioned stimuli and responses. It all comes from classical conditioning and operant conditioning. I'm just say conditioning in general. It all comes from conditioning. A lot of the things that we do, a lot of the things that we fear, a lot of my family are afraid of airplanes because they've paired the airplanes with crashes on the news. And it's not that often that you see a plane actually crashing, but they've seen this been paired on movies and on the news and shit like that. So now they're like, hell no, because it'll be my luck that the plane crash when I get on it. But it's stuff like that. You associating this airplane and the crash together. You're associating that together. You're pairing that together and associating that with fear. And that's like, yeah. So question your fears, question your beliefs, question your values, question every single thing about yourself, and don't stop. You know what I'm saying? Start journaling and write out all your fears. Why do I fear this? Why does this make me sad? Why does this make me triggered? Why does this make me this? Why does this make me that? And keep tracing it back. You know what I'm saying? Because once you ask one question, a bunch of other questions will start to pop up. Allow those questions to flood in. Allow those questions to flow. And allow those questions to flow, and, you know, don't stop yourself. Definitely don't judge yourself. Do not judge yourself, because that is when you stop all expression and, you know, self-discovery. You cannot judge yourself. Just look at it from like a third person's point of view. Like, pretend it's not even you that went through these things. Pretend it's not even you who experienced these things. It's not even you that you're talking about. Pretend you're somebody else outside of you. You have to disassociate so that you can reassociate. It makes sense. You have to disassociate completely so that you can come together with yourself, because judging yourself for feeling an emotion is insane. We're all human beings. We all experience every single emotion on the spectrum at different times of our lives, different stages of our lives. We're all at different stages. We all went through different things. We all experience different things. We're all different. So to judge yourself for being a human being is crazy as fuck, unless you just want to be a raccoon. You can go be a raccoon if you want to in another lifetime, but in this lifetime, you're a human being, so you can't judge yourself for being a human. You just can't do it. It doesn't make sense. It's dumb as fuck to do something like that. Also, I'm on a rampage, y'all. I'm on a rampage. I also have this as a blog post on my Patreon. I am trying to make my Patreon free, but it keep on trying to like make me pay, so just bear with me. There is a free one that you can sign up for. Like, you can just go on my Patreon and you can see the it's a sign up for free, and you can still see my blog posts and all my posts and stuff like that. But I'm trying to make my packages free. It's not allowing me to do that. So yeah, just sign up for my free Patreon so you can see this in blog form. I will be creating my own diagrams and stuff like that, because I am very skilled in media production, whether it be videography, photography, graphic design. So I will be making some charts and graphs and graphic design images and stuff like that to make it a little easier to digest. the information that I'm giving. But for right now, it's just words. It's just me jotting out all my ideas and thoughts onto a blog post. And if you subscribe, there will also be like newsletters that will come in to alert you that, you know, there's a new post. So yeah, please comment. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you come across in your reflections. I would love to hear about that shit. Not shit, but I would love to hear about, you know, your life and your experiences if you're willing to share them. And I would like to know if what I said was helpful, what I said has opened your mind to a new perspective of life, of living. So yeah, peace. I will see y'all soon. Subscribe and like for more. Please share. And yeah, I will be uploading some more videos soon. Peace.